Seems like it's been a long time coming, but it's exciting time for us. That's for sure. I think, you have to thank a lot of people getting us to this point, starting with our presidents, all of our presidents, Dr. Capilouto, athletic director, Mitch Barnhart, and certainly Commissioner Sankey. Thank you for all the hard work that they've done, all of our medical people, getting us to the point where we could go play. For us, it's been a long preseason, couple more weeks longer than usual, so it seems like it's been a long time, but we will need that preparation. Got a challenging schedule ahead of us. Looking forward to the opportunity, great opportunity from the start, going to Auburn and playing Gus Malzahn in Auburn. It's going to be a real challenge, and obviously a different climate, a different situation. I'd never played there before and know that it's one of those great SEC venues that is usually packed. Obviously, it'll be a different circumstance this year with only allowing a certain percentage, but nonetheless, we know the challenge that we have ahead of us. I'm excited about our team. I appreciate the work that they've done. I feel like we're in a really good position. Guys have worked hard. We're relatively healthy, so looking forward to going in there and getting started here this week.
All right. Raise your hand if you want to ask a question. First one is from John Hale. Go ahead, John.
Hey, Mark. Just wondering if you've gotten any official word on Joey's status and if he's going to be able to play this week.
Not at this point. No word.
Next is Josh Moore.
Hey, Mark, I know when you have like till the end of the week to figure out like who can travel and who's not able to travel. Are you guys kind of weighing in on that throughout the week? Like, say like Wednesday, you kind of have an idea. Like, I guess when do you think you have a pretty good idea of when of who can travel and how many guys can travel and what have you?
Yeah, we've already been working on that for several days, and we have a list put together, and we will have up to maybe 82 guys ready to travel because we are having a rapid test on Friday morning as well. So they obviously will not travel should they come back positive on Friday morning. So we need to have more than usual prepared to go. But we have to work off 70, and we are working off that number right now. There will be some minor changes here throughout this week, depending on injuries, some guys coming back, how they feel, some guys coming back from the other situation. So we'll see where we're at the end of the week. But yes, we have to make preparations for that.
Okay, John Long.
Hey, Mark, in your previous 7 years here, you've loaded up with opening opponents that perhaps couldn't really expose your team's weaknesses. Auburn obviously is different. They can hurt you. So how important is it for your team to get off to a good start or get a big win against an opponent that can obviously punch you in the face?
Well, I think, you mentioned it there a couple times, and I will mention it a few times throughout this week, is starting fast. And, it's the opener. We're on the road, and it's an early morning kickoff. So starting fast is key, and you got to come out swinging. You got to come out fast. And, so we will talk about that and try to prepare for that as best we can.
All right, Derek Terry, go ahead.
Mark, obviously Chad Morris is there now with Gus Malzahn, and you faced Chad's offense last season, and you faced Gus in the past. Just, I guess, even though you know that it might be a different thing this year since you guys are the first opponent to play them, but having that kind of experience against both of those guys, how much has that helped your preparation this offseason?
Well, It'll help in certain ways. I think certainly that's a good tandem there with Chad and with Gus. I think if you watch the film, you could tell they're very similar in so many ways. Even with the way they think, the way they set up plays, the way they take their shots, when they use some gadgets or trick plays, very similar. So I'm sure that's very comfortable for Gus and for Chad to have each other. That, like I said, that's two very, very good coaches working together. When you look at Chad, you may see a coach that throws it slightly more. The passing game is different. We will analyze the passing game from Arkansas and even SMU and have. Along with what the things that Auburn's done well through the years. So again, just a challenge. I don't know. We just got to prepare for a lot. Two very quality coaches right there, and I meant to mention Kevin Steele on the other side of the ball defensively does a fantastic job. They're always a lot to handle. So they have a great coaching staff, and we'll have to be on point. That's for sure. A lot of good coaching and a lot of good players.
Next is Daryl Bird.
Hey, Mark, I'm just curious. The offensive line's gotten a lot of praise this year. What separates a good offensive line from a great offensive line?
I think experience is a big factor. These guys have seen a lot. That really helps. They were good a year ago. Hopefully, we'll take it to another level. But I think it's very good for these guys to have some experience and to get all the different looks. Talent never hurts as well, and definitely have some talented guys. But we're going to see that each and every week this year.
Okay, next question is from Gary Graves.
Mark, as you've watched your receivers, during the course of practice, how have they really developed, and how much more of a dimension does that give your offense and maybe make Terry different as a quarterback?
Well, we need them to. You need the guys to continue to develop, continue to show up and make those competitive plays. I think if you watch football, which I know you do, and all of us watch football when we have an opportunity to, you see the wide receivers making some miraculous catches, some competitive catches, and that certainly helps quarterback out. When guys could come down with those 50-50 balls and make catches for them. So I feel like our guys have really worked hard, and our guys are very competitive, and they want to take it to another level. Listen, they were all for doing the things necessary to help us win football games a year ago. They were all for it. They're all in, and they bought in, and I'm so grateful for that. However, they've worked extremely hard and want to get the football in their hands in the passing game, and we've worked hard, and I'm excited about them and see what they can do.
John Hale.
I could add to that a little bit too. I know this, when you play a Kevin Steele defense, you have to create that space, and you have to get open. And that's something that, we are going to see each and every week. And I know I get asked from some of the media about, this and that, some of that football you see in other leagues, you are not going to see Saturday. There's going to be nobody open. We have to create space. We have to get guys open. You have to work leverage, and the quarterback has to throw it in small windows. We play 10 SEC games, and I can promise you're not going to see that stuff where there's green grass all over the place and easy throws and guys open, because we're not going to see that.
Hey, Mark, obviously your team's been so active with the social justice stuff before the season. College teams aren't on the field for the anthem, but have your guys talked about any sort of message or demonstration for games, before games, coordinating with Auburn, whatever it might be?
We have not to this point. We've talked about, the things we've done, we've done and we've been proud of it. And outside of that, we haven't done much else to this point. We are going to recognize Chris Oates and have a player each week wear his number in honor of Chris, starting with DeAndre Square, who would normally be playing right side by side at two inside backers with Chris. And then Keaton Upshaw is his roommate, and Keaton wants to honor him and wear that for the first home game. So those are the first two we'll have set. From there, we will alternate Chris's number to recognize him and honor him, and just to show him that he's still with us and we're thinking about him.
Thanks.
Hey, Mark, what impressed you when watching the film about Bo Nix and what he's able to do as a true freshman last year, and what challenges does he present for your secondary and defense as a whole?
Yeah, first thing is just the talent. He has all the talent you're looking for, that's for sure. And then he's really comfortable on the move. He really does a really nice job for a freshman of just a feel for the pocket, stepping into the pocket, buying time, and then delivering the ball down the field with some accuracy on the move. He has a very good that way, very good presence about him. And, all the arm strength to make any throw in a clean pocket as well. So very talented young man.
Okay, Josh Moore.
Hey, Mark, there's been in the last week, some people have talked about some kind of gentleman's agreement with Auburn. I just feel like that's something at this point, if you want to dispel that or recognize that, is there anything to that with regarding Joey's eligibility?
Yeah, you were cutting in a little bit about that, but no, there's no agreement, no gentleman's agreement. I'm waiting to hear back from the league, because it's SEC to SEC school. So we're waiting to hear back from them.
Okay, Daryl Bird. Hang on, Daryl. Didn't unmute. Hang on a second. Okay, Daryl, go ahead.
Yeah, it's been over a year since any of us have seen Terry Wilson on the field. How is he a different player than what the last time we saw him? And did it help him at all sitting out and watching the game instead of playing the game?
Sure. I think he's just different, just experience, even though he didn't get the reps, he didn't get the playing time a year ago that he would have liked, that I would have liked to have seen him have. But he missed the year. Obviously that hurts. But he's still older and wiser and more understanding of the offense. So, it just comes with reps. We got to have a great week, and he's got to get out there and get started. And so we'll ease into it with a road game at Auburn.
All right, John Lung.
Mark, 2020 has been a year like no other. There's a lot of things going on off the field. Believe it or not, there are some of us who still care about how the team is doing academically. We haven't heard too much about that. Can you address that, and maybe what the administration has been doing to facilitate the different types of learning environments the players have had to adapt to?
Yeah, we've had to adapt, and just like we talk about on the football field, just like we had to do a year ago, adapt and overcome. Right? It is what it is. But our players are used to adapting to the situation. They've done a remarkable job. Tony, am I correct in saying, I want to say that the last semester with full grades last spring was the best semester we've had. Yeah, that was the best semester we've ever had. So I appreciate their effort in the spring. We were on them from the start. It's much harder for our football team in the fall, obviously, because there are time commitments and the demand that they have on them. But they really had a heck of a semester last spring and are off to a good start. So, we have a lot of procedures in place. Obviously, Dr. Capilouto and our university folks have that under control as far as what's virtual, what's in person. We have, I know I have an academic meeting every Thursday and get updated, and we're doing the best we can. And our players are doing good, and they're responding, and we're getting them the help they need. They're getting on their appointments. And the big thing for me is just keeping them accountable to do the things that's necessary and the things that are going to help them. So that accountability is still at 100% for us, is trying to do the very best we can to have them do everything they need to do. Again, we understand we're not perfect, but we're trying to be, and pushing them that way.
Okay, next question is Keith Taylor.
Hey, Coach, a lot of talk has been about the wide receivers during the preseason, but what about the running backs? Is it going to be by committee? You got a couple of guys that stepped up, or how's that going to work out?
Well, I think you know that we have a bunch of backs that are all very talented that can step in and go. We'll have a rotation set, but then we will see where it goes from there. But to this point, we're confident in all three of them. And really it could go down to 4 and 5 because we have some guys that got different skill sets and they can bring something to the table. But there's only one football, and certainly the first three that we talk about all the time with AJ and Chris and Cavassier will get the majority of the reps.
Okay, next question is from Fred Cowgill. Fred?
Hi, Mark. Fred Cowgill from WLKY in Louisville. What is your level of optimism about your team for this season? What do you like about it? Maybe what are one or two of the challenges you think it'll face? Sort of a two-part question. Then also, how much does having a experienced quarterback like Terry Wilson, in spite of missing last year, how does that help you in terms of meeting those challenges?
Well, I think, certainly an experienced quarterback helps, an experienced football team helps, certainly in these uncertain times and the way things have been so different. An experienced football team is something that I like. A team with strong leadership is something that I like. A team that is very tough physically and mentally, I like. Things that are out of our control is a schedule. It's brutal. It's brutally hard. Again, I sit there and watch other folks and just shake my head in amazement at how difficult and how well prepared each and every team we play is. That's the challenge, and being able to stay healthy and have enough depth to compete and to play 10 SEC games is something that's an unknown. But I like our football team. Like I said, I like a lot of things, starting with the experience and their toughness, both physically and mentally.
Okay, John Clay.
Mark, to this point, college football has been sort of chaotic with several postponements and cancellations and so forth. How confident are you that the SEC can make it through a 10-game, 11-week schedule? And are you expecting where there will be games that are postponed or changed for COVID reasons?
Come on, John. You know me better than that. I mean, it is what it is. I could control what I could control. We're going to get ready for this meeting today and get ready to go play Auburn and get ready to go play one heck of a football game. Can't worry about the rest of it. I have no idea. There's probably medical experts out there that could give a much better answer than I can.
Daryl Bird.
Hey, Mark, I'm just curious, what are the differences between watching a game as a coach and watching a game as a dad? And are you ever able to take off the coach's hat?
Yes, I feel I do a good job of taking off the coaching hat to a point. I will say my son's game last week, we were in a tough game. I think some of you may have saw, which I was glad somebody caught it on TV, on film, because my son had a great catch that was the only touchdown of the game. And I was wondering if anybody had it on film, because I didn't, and I don't think the coaches were filming it. But anyway, somebody caught it on Twitter, and so that was fun for me to see that. But it was a close game, and I sat up there and enjoyed it with my wife and my son Zach, and just enjoyed that game with some friends. And then there came a point in the game late where it started getting a little dicey, and I did have to get down there and throw out a few suggestions to my son. Anybody that's in the 8th grade, they're not used to backpedaling, so I had to just deepen them up a little bit. And lo and behold, 2 plays later, we intercept and ice the game and win it 8-0. So that was a fun first game for my son, who's in 8th grade at Beaumont Middle. I know that's what you're referring to.
Jeff Drummond. Hang on, Jeff. Got a glitch. Okay, there you go.
Hey,
Jeff.
Mark.
Go ahead.
Sorry about that. I was wondering what you saw from Marquez Bembry the last couple of weeks and how he's progressed there on the inside.
Yeah, I really like the way he's progressing. He's got the length we're looking for, the size. He's physical, and he's getting more instinctual inside. So I like the way he's coming along with Jared Casey. We're going to need him, and those two are getting a lot of reps and getting better.
Next is from Josh Moore.
Hey, Mark, we talked a lot about Vito throughout the preseason here, but, seeing him on the depth chart there behind Devontae, just having coached that position, how nice is it to see, or I guess how good is it to see a freshman, rise to that level and be able to contend right away?
It's definitely exciting. He did have a setback this past week with an injury. He was out for most of the week, or actually all last week, but he'll be back today for practice, and hopefully he won't have any side effects, and he'll be able to continue to move forward this week. But he was having a really strong camp, and hopefully he'll be back at full strength this week. We'll need him out there, but it is good to have a young guy that's that versatile, that could play multiple positions. We probably overloaded him at times with moving him around in the different spots, but we could kind of zero in and hone him in on one specific position now this week and get him game ready.
Darryl Bird.
Hey, Mark, you were talking earlier about Terry Wilson coming back. I know with major injuries, a lot of time it's the mental aspect that's as hard as the physical. Take that first really hard shot that he has to take after surgery. How is he doing with that part of it?
He's doing fine. I mean, he hasn't been hit full contact yet. He's taken some shots. I mean, it's just going to happen. I mean, we practice physical. Obviously, our quarterbacks aren't live, but as physical as we are with with as much tempo and pressure we put on him, he's taken some shots just inadvertently. But I expect he'll be fine after. He's got to take that first hit. He's going to pull the ball down. He's going to run. He's going to scramble. He's going to get sacked. And, ball security is a big thing. He's got to be very conscious of protecting the football. But outside of that, he's just got to let it go and go play and do what's natural to him. And that's what I've seen.
Mark Story. Hello, Mark. Okay, we'll move on. Next question. All right, John Hale.
Hey, Mark, I know you love depth chart questions, so I've got 2 for you. One, was Bo Allen the number 2 quarterback because of Joey's uncertainty, or did he win that job? And then 2, Nasir Watkins is not on there. I know he was coming back from an injury. Is that why, or is there something else?
I'm gonna punt on the first question, first part of that, and Nasir got a little banged up.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And then also understand this, I still need to get a grip on me releasing with this situation being the way it is this year. See the way the league is going to handle that, see the way opposing coaches are going to handle it. Things happen throughout the week with this COVID, and I think you all know, for me, with injuries and things of that nature, I've been as forthcoming as any coach in the country with you. I try to be very honest and open about that and give you, the information that I can without giving somebody a competitive advantage. And we've been pretty open about the COVID as well. I think as you get into the season, we have to be very conscious of that, and we will work our way through that is the best thing I could tell you. I certainly don't want to sit there and divulge all week if we have a certain position group or, if we're down a certain number of guys to the opposing coaches. I think it can be, to some extent, in certain situations, a competitive advantage. And again, I'll work with you as best I can on that. I always try to be as honest and upfront and open about injuries as I can. But that's the situation with Nasir. He's injured. As of right now, I'm just going to stay away from the COVID questions. I have to anyway, but as far as how many and things of that nature, I'm going to just work my way through that. Sound good?
Makes sense.
All right, Mark Story, we'll try you again. You on yet?
Okay. Mark, with Coach Schlarman's situation, are there any special travel protocols for him? And secondly, with COVID, with the Mike Norvell situation, is there a contingency plan that you set up in case you have to quarantine?
Yes, and yes. With Coach Schlarman's situation, we all will be tested, and we won't leave our little bubble here that we're with each other on Friday. So travel is different. Some of my plans and the way we do some things on Friday will be different from time to time. And again, we just have to adapt to it. But once we come in Friday, we will have the rapid test. So everybody that's in contact with Coach Schlarman or any of us will have a test. And so we will be as safe as we possibly can with that. And then, so we'll be in as much of a bubble as we can be in from the time we leave here until the time we play and get home. And then with my situation, yeah, should something happen to me, I'm very fortunate. I have some experienced coaches here. I have 2 assistant head coaches, and certainly Brad White's ready to be a head coach, but Eddie Gran and Vince Morrow have the titles, and we have some plans in place to make sure that we operate and stay as smooth and on schedule as we can.
Okay, time for 2 more. Steve Moulton. Trying to get you unmuted.
Hey,
there you
Coach,
go.
I
Steve.
appreciate you doing this. Well, you mentioned Cavassier smoke a little earlier, and I can't help but think as close as he's basically going home for this one, I would imagine he's pretty psyched up for this game. If you could speak to his development.
Yeah, Cavassier has had a good camp. You don't know in any given game which one of those backs is going to have a breakout. We're going to continue to chop wood. We're going to continue to play physical. And hopefully one of them will get an opportunity for some big plays. But Cavassier certainly has that ability, and I'm sure he'll be motivated for the game, just like all the rest of our players.
Wrap up, final question, John Long. John.
Mark, Coach Orgeron of LSU was on 60 Minutes last night. I don't know if you got a chance to see that or not, but how important do you feel exposure like that is to the UK program at this stage? And can you see yourself ever doing something like that after winning the national championship?
Come on, John. Hypotheticals, I mean, is it important? Sure. I would think it would be important. Any exposure like that is important and good, and I don't think you'd turn it down. But outside of that, I can't answer the rest of that question, but thank you.
All right, folks, thank you very much.